Team family, it is hard to believe that summer is coming to a close. Kids are headed back to school. Here at the Boyd Team, we want to say thank you for coming to our water park event this past month. And we are looking forward to, it's hard to believe it's only 2 months until our pumpkin patch in October. So looking forward to seeing everybody there. I wanted to come to you today, two things real quick. Number one is that coming in the middle of August, the way that real estate is bought and sold is going to be changing nationwide. So some of you guys maybe have heard about this. There was a big lawsuit, but everything is coming to change in the middle of the month. And so I wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. A little backstory, back in October this past year, judge gave a ruling on a decision for something that had been in the courts for years. And ultimately, what that was about buyer agents and their agreements with their clients. A lot of states were not requiring that to be used, and so some buyers didn't know how their agents were getting paid, and there was a lot of confusion around that. And so the point of the lawsuit was trying to clear that up. Luckily for us in the state of South Carolina has been requiring those documents for all transactions for over 20 years. And so the changes that are happening for the nation are not going to be that big a deal for us. For those agreements, there's a couple of wording tweaks. That's the main change that we'll have in South Carolina on the agreements. The big change is going to be that they are now requiring that those agreements be signed before agents are allowed to show a home. And so right now, if you called me and you said, hey, Justin, I want to see this house over here in Taylor's, I'd say, great, what's the address? Look it up. I'd go show it to you, no problem. What'll be required as of the middle of August is that before I can show you that house, we have to sit down, we have to work through a little bit of paperwork and talk through that buyer's agency agreement before I'm allowed to show you the house. And so that will be the biggest change that you see. And again, that's a nationwide change. Now, of note, Colorado has decided that they're not following this part of the settlement. And so we'll see over the course of the next couple of months how that plays out. It's likely that they get sued. There could be a whole bunch of other things that happen as a part of that. And so we'll obviously be keeping an eye on that. If everything goes well in Colorado, we may see other states decide to do that as well, because requiring that agreement prior to showing is, in my opinion, is just not the best practice. And so we'll see how it plays out, but that's what we're required to do as of the middle of August. So we'll keep you guys updated on how that's going. So last thing on the market, just want to give you guys a quick market update. There's a lot of questions. A lot has changed in the last 12 months. And so I've gotten a lot of questions about what's going on. What does it look like in the market currently? Right now, we're looking at rates that are somewhere in the low 7s to high 6s for a conventional loan. And then for the government-backed loans, the FHA, the VA, USDA, sometimes able to get into the low 6% range on those types of loans. Also, looking at inventory-wise, we are above 5,000 homes that are currently available in the Greenville MLS. Now, that's up from a low of around 1,600 back in 2022. And so definitely a lot higher than what we were seeing then. In addition, with higher interest rates and higher inventory available, we are seeing days on market go up as well. So we're seeing that land somewhere in the mid 40s right now for days on market. And that's up from a low in the teens, 16 to 18 days on market back in 2022. Now, those numbers sound a little scary just because they're way bigger than they were 2 years ago. But if you look, broader perspective is really important there to think about. Back 2015 through 2020, we averaged somewhere around 4,500 to 5,000 homes on the market, and homes stayed on the market an average of in the low 50s, 50 to 55 days on market. And so when you look at that with the correct perspective, we are slowly moving back to what I would call a normal market in the Greenville area. One thing that I have found interesting about that is of those 5,000 houses, about 34% of that is new construction. And typically that number has been around 18 to 20% of our market has been new construction. but we're seeing a much larger percentage of new construction in our market right now. And you guys, you just drive around, you can see all the construction that's going on. And so we do have a large percentage in our market that's new construction right now. As we head towards presidential election, we are getting some questions about, how does that affect the market? Over the past 40 years, presidential elections overall have not affected the market very much at all. We do see a little bit of a drop in activity in November. They say that normally it's down about 5%, which isn't a huge change, but November's down about 5% when there's an election. And so it'll be a little bit slower in November because of that, but people immediately come back to the market at the end of November, into December and January, and make up for that 5% gap that happened at the beginning of November. So don't anticipate a big change because of the election there. As far as what's coming in the future, we do anticipate the Fed is going to be dropping rates probably only a quarter point in September. That'll be the first drop since they started raising rates 2 years ago. So that would be a move in the right direction. But even with that, projections are that rates are probably going to only drop maybe 0.5% over the next 12 months. And so a 0.5% drop in rate with current prices with where they're at, you're really not talking about that much difference in your monthly payment when you consider appreciation and things like that. And so that 0.5% drop in rate is really not going to affect the decision of a buyer whether or not they're going to purchase now or wait a year. It's not going to be the deciding factor for them in that. So we don't anticipate that changing things very much. Overall, the metrics that I pay attention to, days on market, inventory in the market, how quickly things are selling, all of that points to a market that will mirror very closely with what we had in 2020. And in 2020, that was the busiest the market had ever been in Greenville. And we are looking at a market that's going to be very similar to that, even though the rates are higher than they were back in 2020. So still a very healthy market. And we do anticipate, over the next 6 months, rates will come down a little bit. But overall, we're just looking at a really strong seller's market where houses are going to sit on the market for somewhere between a month to a month and a half. And buyers that own a house, you're still going to be seeing 3 to 4% appreciation on your investment there. So still a very strong market. So really good news on that front. And if you have any questions either on the settlement stuff with showings and how that's going to work with agreements or on the market, certainly reach out. But as I close out, this is the time of year that a lot of people start having that conversation of, are we going to move before the end of the year? Or are we going to wait until next spring? And so as you're having those conversations, certainly reach out. I love to be a part of that planning process just to figure out what's best for you in your situation. What are the pluses? What are the minuses? What can we work through over the next little bit to make sure that when you do go to sell your home, you get the most money or you're buying at the right time for your family. So certainly reach out. Would love to help out. I hope you guys have a great August, great start back to school. And again, looking forward to, hard to believe, only 2 months until our pumpkin patch. Watch your mailboxes this month. You should see your football mailer that we send out every year. That should be coming in your mailbox in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out. Have a great August, and we'll talk to you soon.